In Nigeria, the word restructuring now sounds like a hit song, inspired by the concerns of regional marginalization, the inconvenience of national coexistence, and the wake-up call of secessionist agenda in recent weeks. Joining me in the studio to dig deep on Africa this week is Alfred Kemekpado, Secretary General, Ijaw Youth Council in Nigeria. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
Now, what are your thoughts on these growing calls for restructuring?
Basically, like I've said so recently, it is time for us to begin to review and reconsider the Nigerian conversation. You can say it's restructuring today. Some have said it's true federalism yesterday. There was a confab report the other time and other related conversation. But it all brings to the fore that there is need for us to review the Nigerian conversation. There is need for us to review the structure, the political, the economic, the social structure, even along religious line and every other related line, for us to begin to review it and see how convenient and see how better we can prosper ourselves with that conversation.
All right. How do you think we got to this point with the ongoing agitations and hate speeches amongst various ethnic groups?
I think over the years and over the time, leadership has not been sincere to their duties. And that is one of the things that has brought us down here. But as a matter of fact, I don't want to dwell on the negativities, but the truth is, it's high time we begin to look at, like yesterday I said something like, there's this popular understanding that as a person, if you shy away from your responsibility, no matter how you shy away from it, responsibility has a way of coming back with a greater momentum, okay? And if you shy away from it again, it comes back with a greater momentum again. And until you attend to your responsibility, it comes back and subsequently destroys you. Like Christopher Kolade rightly said here, these has come in the form of different conversations in the past. It's just to show that at every point in time, Nigeria should have attended to this. So if we don't attend to this now, it's going to go where I can't really tell. So we need to restructure. But, you know, when this conversation of restructuring come, I don't want regions and other states to begin to look at it, because for us from the Niger Delta, Ijaw extraction, for example, we'll talk about restructuring, people begin to look at, okay, maybe you want to own your oil to yourself and pay a percentage to the federal government.
I'm sure that's very tempting.
Well, that's very bad. That's not also totally out of it. That's not bad. But what I want to also put straight is that the Nigerian states, all of us need to understand that in every state in this country, God has put prosperity in there. It's just that we have been too lazy to look at what is in there for each and every one of us, okay? And when you also come down to the Niger Delta, I don't want Nigerians to feel that as Ijaw people and as Niger Delta, we're excited about the oil that is being drilled out of that environment. Currently, as we speak, in the confine of restructuring, we are also looking at a cleaner and a greener environment. By that, I mean, as Niger Delta and as Ijaw people, yes, we have the oil resources abundant that is sustaining the country, but we are also looking at how can we move on and have a cleaner, a greener economy like you have in the United Arab Emirates, where you have oil-filled countries that have moved on from oil resource to tourism and other things. So if you look at the Niger Delta very well, we have the seas, we have the oceans, you understand? When you talk about the ocean economy, our real wealth is in our sea, our estuaries, our green farms, okay? We want a cleaner environment. So so we need to restructure this country so that we begin to look at the economic structure, the political structure, and begin to do what suits us best according to the regions we occupy. So people should also should get to know, look at the herdsmen going around and causing problems. In short, herds trade is actually one of the trade that scoops real income for countries like Brazil, India. In short, research has also shown that Nigeria has not even been able to catch up with the beef consumption in this country. So you see, there are countries and there are states who live on these things. So we need to begin to look at these things and begin to exist with our comparative advantage, with the structures we have, and make this so-called big head called federal government. When I say big head, this heavy head that wants to control Sagbama local government from Abuja, it doesn't work. We need to begin to, you know, go away and operate something that sounds like true federalism, if not totally true federalism.
Interesting perspective. Well, some believe that Nigeria's current system is good. only marred by poor leadership. Do you think the fight should be against bad governance rather than restructuring?
Now, you can't take away governance from the structure of governance anywhere in the world. The reason why governance is good in America, if you want to take me there, is that they operate a true federalism. If you go to the Britain, they have their parliamentary system. So you can't take away governance from restructuring. Restructuring will make us will increase our accountability to our environment, to our peculiarities, and to our people. Do you get what I mean? When we talk about restructuring, our leadership, as you just mentioned, everything is inclusive in one. Okay, we need to restructure our security system, our police system, whatever you call it. So you can take away one from the other. But however, that is not to deflate the fact that we have had bad leadership problems. We have had presidents who didn't perform close to as we had hoped for. We have governors, local government chairmen, but in all of these things, it's in the structure. That's why I say that whether you call it true federalism, restructuring, confab report, or anything, we need to put the Nigerian conversation on the deck. It's tempting for me to also mention that we need to begin to also restructure how we fight corruption. Indeed. We have not asked ourselves pertinent questions.
Indeed, and that brings me to my next question, because while clamoring for restructuring at the center, how well are Nigerians holding their governors and local leaders accountable?
Nigerians should be encouraged, okay, to hold their local leaders accountable, okay, through the ballots, and that's where institutions like the INEC comes in. We've heard about the card readers, we've heard about trying to make elections decent. INEC has a total responsibility to make our votes count the way they are. Not like what we had, without disregard to any region.
Prejudice.
Not like without prejudice. Not like the last elections where war-torn areas that people were totally driven out, voted almost 100%, more than where people had rest, you understand? So now for us to hold leadership accountable, I mean at the political level, you understand, institutions like the INEC will now have to subscribe to the kind of technology that will make, votes accountable. Leaders begin to ride on the basis of their manifesto, not because of how much they can dole out during election, as we saw in the social media in some of these recent states where electorates were paid. Nigerians need to now hold leadership accountable for what you understand about the issues and what you are coming to offer. And let me say, Nigerians need to now look more at the young people to lead the country, because even some of these respected old people who are doing all of these things to put us in this shit, go to their private companies and their businesses. They get young people to lead them. So if they know young people are good and young people can make stuff productive in their private ventures, they should also realize that the young people can make the country. So we need to look at the age bracket. Recently, you've heard of, you know the president of France, Macron, it's 39, and a whole lot of that. So we need to begin to check. Maybe the restructuring should also go into the age bracket for elected position. Probably we should say if you're above 50, don't contest for president.
Don't contest for president.
Maybe. Anyway. I'm not saying that's what it is. Maybe.
I have to cut you there now. You are a youth leader, at least. So what would you propose as the best options to resolving this growing agitations?
The best option is to keep the conversation on the deck and keep it sincere, keep it straightforward, and have an open mind, and avoid reckless hate speeches. Also, beyond the hate speeches, we shouldn't make reckless, disrespectful speeches. Recently, about 2 days ago, I heard some reckless speeches from a governor in the north. I don't want to mention his name, but we should avoid such reckless conversations. We should keep the pedal on saying that which is positive, that will take us from the point we are, which is obviously not good, to a point that is better than this, that is subject to review, that will take us to better points.
But let me ask you now, and how feasible are all these calls for restructuring, going by the political will on the part of the leaders to actually make Nigeria better for all?
How do you mean?
In terms that, I mean, do Nigerian leaders have the political will to actually do this?
Of course they do. They should have the political will, except they are not willing to exercise it. I don't know what political will they need for all of us to sincerely come to the table and begin to discuss the opening of our constitution that says, we, the people of Nigeria, So we, the people of Nigeria, need to look at the Nigerian state again. As a matter of fact, the ruling party today, I think one of the key things in their manifesto is to review this whole structure of the country. So they should play out their manifesto. They should be accountable to their manifesto. So that is what it is. So there is no extra political will anywhere. It's just the willingness to sacrifice and do the right thing. So I think they do. They should do. All they need to do is to exercise that will that they have.
All right. Now, how confident are you that this restructuring plan will put an end to the many problems facing the Nigerian society?
I can practically say it could put an end, but it will ameliorate it. It's going to keep the conversation going. You see, even in advanced countries, even in the competitive democracies like America and other, nothing is sacrosanct. You know, when Obama talks, it talks about the creed, it talks about the ideals. The rules can change, but you keep them on the value of sincerity, on the principles of integrity, fairness, equity, justice. As long as we put the conversation on the table, it may not solve all of our problems today, but it's definitely going to tickle the conversation that is subject to review that will create a balance that will take us from the point we are to another point, to another point, to another point. It gets better until we leave the system for others to continue to review. That's the essence of policy. That's the essence of a country. That's the essence of a democracy. That's why we should be talking and not to tie ourselves to old practices that are obviously not working.
Very interesting perspectives. Alfred Kamepado, youth leader in Nigeria's Niger Delta region. Many thanks for joining me on Africa This Week.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Nigeria finds itself at crossroads with emerging political realities, ensuring that dialogue is necessary and reform is inevitable. While restructuring looks like the most important tool in the kit to reawaken and reshape national consciousness, one can only hope that in the end, Nigeria becomes better for it. I have been your guide, Fadeshola Shotingwa. Many thanks for watching and bye for now.